Moving on to week 5 predictions for the NFL. Last week I went 9-5-1. That tie really screwed up my predictions. I don't know how I'm going to address that moving forward. My overall predictions for this year are 38 right, 24 wrong, and 1 tie. Once again, I don't know how to account that. That 1 tie is going to be annoying, but whatever. The Thursday night game for week 5, we got Rams versus 49ers. There's 2 things to consider here. 1, the Rams are one of the better teams right now. And 2, the 49ers, I think, are good, but not right now. It's funny, after all that last year, Christian McCaffrey being out the whole year, he's the only player who isn't injured at this point. George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk's still gone. Ricky Pearsall's out now. Nick Bosa's out now. Like, it's getting bad. Mac Jones is going to be starting for the team this week, which he hasn't been doing terrible, but it's against the Rams. They have a pretty good defense. I think he's going to struggle a bit. I'm going to give this one to the Rams. We got the international game for week 5. We got Vikings versus Browns. There's 2 things to consider here. 1, the Vikings offense has struggled a bit and the Browns have a pretty good defense. On the other hand, they're starting Dylan Gabriel for the first time, and we don't know how that's going to go. One thing to consider here is that it's his first start, and he could be good, he could be bad, but there's no denying that the Vikings have a pretty good defense. I think this one's going to be pretty low scoring because these are 2 pretty good defenses and 2 questionable offenses. I don't really know what to think of the Vikings yet. I know I definitely think Carson Wentz isn't very good, but they have a lot of good players in that team. I think people are going to count the Browns out for this one, but I think this one could be more of a 50-50 than people expect. I'm still going to go with the Vikings for it though. Next up for week 5, we got Panthers versus Dolphins, probably game of the week. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm a Panthers fan, but I think they're going to win this one. First of all, let me just make this clear. Neither of these teams are contenders right now. They're both pretty bad. The Panthers last week were terrible. The Dolphins last week won, but they played one of the worst teams. And I think it's really going to come down to which Panthers team we're going to see. Are we going to see the team that played against the Falcons or the team that played every other team this year? And I know based on the sample size right now, it's looking like it's not going to be the team that played the Falcons. But hear me out. Xavier Legette's coming back. People are really down on him. I'm not out on him yet. I think that he'll rebound in this one. Jimmy Horn's playing the first time. He's a 6th round pick, so obviously not too much to like hype up there, but I do feel good about it. Tyreek Hill is gone, and that's not going to change the Dolphins' entire offensive scheme, but it definitely is going to change it a little bit. So I'm going to go with the Panthers. Sue me. Next up for week 5, we got Texans versus Ravens. Both of these teams have struggled more than expected, and now with Lamar Jackson out, the Ravens are looking even worse. Meanwhile, the Texans' offense has been pretty bad, but their defense has been pretty good. Can't say the same for the Ravens, however. Their defense so far this year have given up the most points in the league. So with Lamar gone and the Ravens' defense being as bad as it is, I see this one probably going the Texans' way. A bad sign for the Ravens is there is a true threat that they will not make the playoffs this year. Next up for week 5, we got Raiders versus Colts. I think there's a few things to keep in mind here. For one, the Raiders' offense has definitely struggled despite Ashton Jeanty showing up last week, and the Colts have come out of the gate so far this year looking a lot better than expected. They lost to the Rams last week, and to give them credit, the Rams are a pretty good team, and they were pretty close, but it came down to a few big mistakes. I think as long as the Colts don't continue to beat themselves like they did against the Rams, they'll be able to get the job done here. Next up, we got Giants versus Saints. The 2 big news stories with the Giants so far is that their defense has been pretty good and their offense is kind of all over the place. Some of that's in a good way and some of that's in a bad way though. Malik Nabers has tore his ACL, so he's going to be gone for the season. Meanwhile, Jackson Dart's definitely shown some promise. I don't know how that talent's going to translate for Jackson considering his wide receiver 1's out for the season, but he played a lot of last week without him and they still won. And the reason why I have high hopes for them this week is because they're playing against the Saints. I don't think the Giants are great, but the Saints are worse. They've kept it close in a lot of these games, but then they've thrown in a few games where they've looked really bad, especially that Seahawks game I think 2 weeks ago. It's pretty clear the Saints are tanking right now anyway. I don't even think the fan base cares that much right now. Saints have work to do. The Giants have a little momentum, so I'm going to give it to them for this one. Next up for week 5, we got Cowboys versus Jets. The Jets currently have 0 wins under their belt, and that's due to a lot of mistakes they've made throughout the 4 games they've played so far. Cowboys last week actually showed a little bit of promise. Their defense is struggling a bit, but their offense did a pretty good job against the Packers. Albeit they didn't win the game, but they also didn't lose the game, so that's a plus. The Jets' defense has been uncharacteristically bad so far this season, and I think the Cowboys' offense will take advantage of that. However, there's a chance the Jets' offense will also be able to beat on the Cowboys' defense a little bit. When it comes down to it, though, I think I trust the Cowboys to win this one a little more than I do the Jets. Next up, we got Broncos versus Eagles for week 5. 2 weeks in a row now I bet against the Eagles and I was wrong both times. The Broncos last week beat up the Bengals, which isn't hard to do these days. The Broncos defense has really good cornerbacks, but the Eagles haven't really been passing it very much. They won last week against the Buccaneers without a single passing yard for the entire second half. The fact that they're able to get away with doing that and still win against the Buccaneers is pretty telling of how good their team is. So if the Eagles are able to beat the Buccaneers, then I feel like they're going to be able to beat the Broncos too. And that's partially because the Broncos offense has been kind of all over the place so far. So I'm learning my lesson here. I'm not going to bet against the Eagles this time, but of course, probably going to be wrong now. Next up, we got the game of the week for week 5. We got Cardinals versus Titans. So the Titans right now, they're pretty...
ass.
Right. He's not wrong about that either. They're 0-4 right now, and they just got 0 points against the Texans. I've been standing by the fact that I think Cam Ward is pretty good, and he'll be all right in the league overall. But the overall roster is pretty bad. And I don't think Titans fans are going to disagree with me here. I think they all know how bad the team is right now. And they're absolutely not putting Cam Ward in a position to succeed at all. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are going through a few growing pains as well. They're down 2 running backs right now. Their offense even before that was kind of weird. And their defense is good-ish. I don't really know what to think of it yet. However, good-ish I think is still enough to beat the Titans at this point. So I'm going to give it to the Cardinals. Next up, we got Seahawks versus Buccaneers. Both of these teams have done some good things lately, although the Buccaneers got their first loss of the year last week, albeit it was against the reigning Super Bowl champions, but still. The Seahawks haven't lost since week 1, and I think that they have looked good. Their defense has been great, and their offense has been overall pretty consistent. The Buccaneers have been good so far, although it seems like they keep losing some steam at the beginning of each fourth quarter and then getting it back at the very end. Although it didn't save them last week, it's been helping them out every other game. And I think just power rankings wise, I think I'd give this one to the Buccaneers over the Seahawks, but this is one where I wouldn't be surprised if I was wrong. Next up, this one's going to be fun. We got Lions versus Bengals. At the beginning of this season, this game might have been pretty exciting, but now it's looking like it's probably going to be the biggest blowout of the week. It's just a recipe for disaster. The Lions have one of the best offenses. The Bengals have probably the second worst defense. I mean, for a lack of a better term, the Bengals are pretty cooked right now. I'm not going to take any risks here. I'm just going to give this one to the Lions. Next up for week 5, we got Commanders versus Chargers. The Chargers had a rough game last week losing to the Giants, and the Commanders had a rough game last week losing to the Falcons. Now, to be fair to the Commanders, they were losing a few players, but their defense overall isn't great right now. The Chargers offense last week struggled, and especially with Joe Alt out right now, I think they're going to continue to struggle, but the Commanders defense isn't as good as the Giants defense is. Jaden Daniels is probably going to be back this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if Terry McLaurin was out still, and I think that as a result of just some of growing pains, Jaden Daniels being out for 2 weeks, I think the Chargers will win this one, but it will be close. And again, nothing would really shock me here. If the Chargers lose this one, then fair enough. I just feel like they got this one. For the week 5 Sunday night game, we got the Patriots versus Bills. The Patriots are on quite a streak here. They did a pretty good job against the Panthers last week. And the Bills are the Bills. They might be the best team or second best team right now, and they've continued to look pretty good. They did surprisingly struggle a little bit against the Saints, but it seems like they always play bad against bad teams. I don't know what their issue is. I think this is a game where the Patriots' lack of run offense will really catch up to them, and some of those offensive turnovers might peer their head again, and it's going to give them some other issues. The Bills' offense is also a lot better than the last few that they've faced. So I think there's a few player mismatches here. Bills will take advantage of it, and they're ultimately going to come out on top in this one. Final game of the week, we got the Monday night game. We got Chiefs versus Jaguars. Is this the 4th primetime game for the Chiefs in a row? That's crazy. The Jaguars have been on quite a streak so far. They are 3-1. They just beat the 49ers, and for good reason. The offense has been pretty good so far for them. And I believe their defense is one of, if not the highest team in causing turnovers. The Chiefs, however, it seems like from how last week went, they got their mojo back. And this isn't something that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm glad the Chiefs are back. I mean, I begrudgingly chose them last week to beat the Ravens because I just felt like it was coming. With Xavier Worthy back, their offense has been running wild again. And all in all, while the Jaguars are good, I think this is just going to be one where the Chiefs this is one of their scripted wins. They got to win. And that's going to be it for the week. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.